consider myself a very visual person, and in conjunction with what Dan and I have talked about living life, I think living life kind of forces me to be more visual, because sometimes I would experience something, and then I would try to think in visual terms, not just in writing terms, in addition to writing terms, what I just experienced. Or if I experience something profound and I feel like, how can I convey this cinematically? And I think when I write, since so far everything I've written so far I have directed myself, so I always write in sort of a shorthand way where I know exactly what the shot is going to be like when I'm writing this interior scene or exterior scene. So it's definitely something that's crucial for me when I write, but it also happens on a very subconscious level too, because there's this whole part of when you work with a cinematographer, and the cinematographer brings in another dimension to the visual elements of it, where it could be enhanced, because they're actually trained specifically for that. And so then you have a dialogue with the cinematographer as to how you need to convey the script and images, and then he or she would tell you, oh, we can actually do it this way, which could be better than what you have in mind. And then you just sort of work with that and have that discussion going. Does that answer your question, Annie?
Yes, I guess maybe the question is how much can you rely on it, and how long should it can it sustain you and help you out with problems?
I think not. I think it'll be really hard to know what your film looks like visually from beginning through end when you're writing. I think it's actually good to have a sense of uncertainty, that you don't know what something looks like on screen, but you know what you want to convey on paper. Because I don't think it's a good idea when you go, I don't know, I mean, it depends. I think for me, I don't think it's a good idea when I go on the set and I know exactly what should happen, because that kind of eliminates the mystery of having possibilities of getting to a point where you can actually accomplish something, you can achieve something that's better than what you have in mind or what you prepared for. So I think an element of uncertainty is a very good thing to have. So you don't really need to have every visual element down before you shoot the film, unless you're, David Fincher or something. And then I guess.
I agree. I mean, to me, it's kind of, your idea presumably goes from no dimensions, which it exists in your head, to 2 dimensions. It's on a piece of paper, and that 2 dimensions is not going to look exactly like whatever you had in your head. You're limited by what you can get on that paper. Then it's got to go from that to 3 dimensions. People are going to act it, and there's going to be space there, and it's going to be whatever the location scout can find that's close to what, I'm not actually a very visual person myself. I mean, I am in a way, but I have something called prosopagnosia, which is, I think you have it now because you're close to me. What that means, I have it kind of mildly, but what it means is I can't hold faces in my mind's eye. Okay, I could stare, I cannot memorize faces. Okay, I cannot hold them in my mind's eye. I can't picture my daughter. Okay, which drives me crazy. I cannot actually picture my own face, which is very strange because I have this vague idea of being this young person, and then I look in the mirror and I go, oh no, really? Every day.
You still look young.
Oh, God bless you. I have to take your word for it. I don't know. But because of that, when I write characters, and this is also how I sort of know people, I label people, tag people in my head, is by the way they move, by the way they act, by their voices, by who they are. There's this essence of who they are that is not based on what my eyes see, because I can't trust them. Okay? So I hear the voices like crazy in my head. If I'm working on a show, I know every character's voice, and when I'm writing, their voices come right through. I just hear their voices, and I think that's the primary way I identify people anyway. So I'm not visual. I have a visual sense as far as theoretical. I know that if I'm doing an animated short, I want to start with this shot and then pull out to that shot, and then I want to come over here and reveal that. But that's a little different. And I tend to write for the feel of what people are doing. And to me, that's a very kind of there's a word here that I don't know, feeling. What is it? I've lost it. But any visceral feeling. And so I myself don't rely a lot on visual. I want the feel of it. I want to do what I can to capture this feeling, like the words is like a paintbrush. I want to splash it on there. I want to like pointillism. I want to just get these feelings on this page however I can do it. And if sometimes there are visual images and sometimes there aren't, that's okay. Any road that I can get to get that paper to hold on to my feelings and be able to translate them to you is how I do it.
And in terms of documentary, would it be detrimental to go in with a visualization of what you want? Do you want to let things somewhat unfold, pardon the origami pun? Do you want to let things unfold before the camera and then later put it together? Would it be dangerous to go in with a concept visually already?
It's never dangerous to go in with a concept because you can always scrap it and do something else. It's always good to have a plan, and it's always good to have a feeling for what you want to do when you start out. You never run into the problem of things happening exactly the way you imagined them, because it doesn't, it just doesn't happen. But when you're really lucky, you get to a point where you're so much into your project. It's like what you were saying about documentary writing, that once you really know what you want to do, you while you're shooting and while you're researching, you basically get into this zone where you just know what your film is and what it isn't. So it is a kind of visualization, but it's not something that happens beforehand and you put on paper and then you reproduce it. It's just something that you do while you shoot.
Anything to add?
I don't know. For some reason, I'm kind of coming blank on an answer to this question. My film is a very visual film, and it presents artwork from a lot of people, but I can't really articulate it. For me, it wasn't a visual drive. It was something that was more ephemeral and just like this feeling that I knew I hit on when it was either through the music or the visuals or what the person on stage or on the screen was saying. I don't know. I can't provide a good answer to that question, I don't think.